over to you.
Thank you, Kanalji. Good evening, Master. Good evening, Sloucher. Good evening, dear Tao brothers and sisters. I would like to thank Gautam Buddha and all Tao seniors for giving me the opportunity to tell the story in the meeting. Thank you. The title of my today's story is True Forgiveness. Once upon a time, Gautam Buddha was teaching in an assembly and a man walked furiously towards him. He thought Buddha was doing something wrong. He found his disciples meditating with Buddha for 2 hours every day, and he thought that they could have made a lot of money and be better off if engaged in business. So this man was very upset and he said, I'm going to teach Buddha a lesson. So he came and looked at Buddha and Buddha with the furiousness. As soon as he came near Buddha, all his other thoughts disappeared. Only his anger was there, but he was shaking and he could not speak. No words would come out of his mouth, so he spat on Buddha's face. Buddha simply smiled and did not say anything. All the other disciples around were gripped with anger. They were all so angry, but they couldn't react because Buddha was there. So everybody was holding their lips and fists tight, and this man could not stay longer. He spat, and a few moments later he thought, if I stay longer, I will burst out. So he ran away. As Buddha did not react or say anything and just smiled, this man could not sleep the whole night. It was the first time in his life he met somebody who would just smile when he spat on his face. He underwent such a transformation. The next day he came to Buddha again, and as soon as he saw the Buddha, he fell at Buddha's feet and said, Please forgive me, my lord, I don't know what I did. The Buddha said, I cannot forgive you. Hearing this, the disciples were all shocked. Buddha was so compassionate and merciful, but how come he said he cannot forgive this man? Not possible. Then Buddha said, Well, why you didn't do anything? So how can I forgive you? What did you do? What wrong you have done? The man replied, Yesterday I spat in your face. I am the same person. Buddha replied, That person is not here now. If I ever meet that person on whom you spat, I will tell him to forgive you. So, to me, right now, to this person who is here, you are a wonderful person. You didn't do anything wrong. Hearing the Buddha's word, the man was enlightened, but he also felt guilty and ashamed. Everyone was amazed at Buddha's compassion. Sorry, guilty, ashamed. Everyone was amazed at Buddha's compassion, which is not making somebody a culprit, but at the moment everyone heard Buddha saying, Okay, I forgive you. This is not compassion. True forgiveness should be such that the person who is being forgiven does not even know that you are forgiving them. They shouldn't even feel guilty for a mistake. That is the right type of the forgiveness. Now everyone was enlightened, especially this man. All his burdens came off. He renounced anger at the feet of the Buddha, who then placed his hand gently on his man's head. On this man's head, from this day on, there was a change in this man. The stream of truth, love, and compassion started flowing in his life. Some takeaway lesson: many times we think of a mistake made in the past and again we are sad and cursing ourselves, but it is not a right thing to do. Once we realize our mistake, we must resolve to never repeat it and strengthen the present with a new energy. Yesterday is a memory, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift, which is why it is called the present. Anger is never a solution to anything, as it never does and good to anybody, especially to those who don't know how to deal with it. There are a lot of people who think that being angry something sometimes helps you getting through life. However, that only happens when you have control over your anger and you can utilize it for dealing with the difficult situations. But this doesn't happen with most of us, as it isn't us who get angry. It is the anger that takes hold of us and makes us to do things that we would regret. Moreover, since the things that we did while angry makes us feel guilty, we try to manipulate ourselves and all the people around us into the thinking that we did the right thing. So, in order to free ourselves from this vicious circle, we should try our best to overcome anger or at least control it. In our temple, Tao has been teaching us to always say good words, think good thoughts, do good deeds, and be a decent human being. We are learning to forgive and forget, even when we face some energy, some angry people or difficult situations like the Buddha. We forgive the peoples to the extent that the people who are being forgiven don't even know that we are forgiving them. This is a very high level of compassion. Indeed, it is the true meaning of forgiveness. So, this was my story today. For all the mistakes I have made, I beg God's and Buddha's forgiveness. And Master, our brothers and sisters, please give me comments and suggestions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thanks a lot, Sukhdev Singh ji, for such a great and wonderful story again come up with. I very much appreciate and advocate the words what being mentioned out here. See, improvement is very much required. We are coming to the temple, we are learning things. But this talk classes and this all platform gonna be useless until unless we not implement the things into our life. Speaking and just preaching someone something, suggesting something is one thing. Implementation is very much required and very much fruitful. Until we don't implement, compassion is very much required. But the time, the life should be very much balanced. So you have to be very compassionate, but sometimes when the things are required, you have to be very disciplined in your action and your in orders as well. So Buddha always, appreciate and advocate the middle path. So compassion need to be maintained, the time, the action need to be required. The same time, we have to be disciplined with the circumference we are in, and most important, the things what already been passed. There is no use to think twice and thrice upon the same thing, because the things that has gone is gone is a past. Bringing that thing into our present just for reference is actually appreciable. It works, but just bringing that thought for the burden and for any sort of like I have done that mistake and that was wrong and all the negativity, that actually a big burden, and we should avoid this sort of thing, this sort of mentality. So a great telling coming from Sukhdev Singh ji. Now it's time for I believe, the Master Wisdom Word. So, just without wasting the time, I first read the